Welcome to Cool Talk and Grover Cleveland in my presidential series. What is Grover Cleveland known for? Well, he's the only president to serve two non-consecutive terms, and he's the only president to marry in the White House. But what else? Well, let's talk about him. He was born in 1837 in Caldwell, New Jersey. His father was a Presbyterian minister, and Cleveland said that was a strengthening influence in his life. He became a lawyer, got drafted to go to the Civil War, but instead he paid a Polish immigrant $150 to take his place. Cleveland said because his father had died that he had to take care of his mother and his sisters. When his good friend and law partner, Oscar Folsom, had a baby, Cleveland gave him a baby carriage. The little girl's name is Frances. More about her later. Cleveland became sheriff of Erie County in the 1870s. He got paid $20,000 a year, which is about $400,000 a year in today's currency. Pretty good. Unfortunately, it also meant hanging convicted criminals. This kind of went against his Presbyterian sensibilities, but he would do it himself. He wouldn't have somebody else do the hanging for him, to his credit. Around this time, he met a young woman named Maria Halpin, and he probably wished he hadn't. Grover had an affair with Miss Halpin, and she gave birth to a baby boy. But Grover said he doubted that he was the father. So what happened? Here's where things get confusing. Republicans later said that Ms. Halpin was a chaste woman that Grover Cleveland forced himself into her boarding house, forced himself on her, threatened her with silence. But when she came by weeks later, revealing her pregnancy, he paid for child support. Grover said that the sex was consensual and that Ms. Halpin was involved with other men. So, what do we know? We do know they went to dinner and later ended up in her boarding house. Was it consensual sex, rape, or date rape? There's a story that she was involved with 3 other men, one of them being Oscar Folsom. That is Grover Cleveland's good friend and law partner. She actually named the baby Oscar Folsom Halpin. So maybe it is Oscar's son, and Grover Cleveland was just covering for him. We don't know. But anyway, the boy was sent off for adoption, and Maria Halpin was actually institutionalized for insanity and alcoholism. She was later released. Why would Cleveland pay child support if the child was not his? This raises a lot of questions, and of course it was scandalous, especially at the time. We do know that later on he did pay $500 for Maria Halpin to basically go away. So she moved away, what can I say? Cleveland became mayor of Buffalo, New York, where he vetoed any projects that he considered wasteful. He later became governor, and he vetoed any projects that he considered wasteful. Then he decided to run for president. Mayor, governor, president in 2 years? Could he do it? If he did, he'd become the first Democrat in over 30 years. And yes, a lot of you are thinking, what about Andrew Johnson? Well, Andrew Johnson didn't run as a Democrat when he was on the ticket with Lincoln. Cleveland ran for president against James Blaine. That was a Republican candidate. It was a dirty campaign, and the story of Cleveland's illegitimate child with Ms. Maria Halpin came out. Cleveland's staff asked, what should we do? And he said, tell the truth. Nevertheless, it hit the newspapers all over the place, and the Democrats unfortunately attacked Ms. Halpin's character, a very sad consequence of all of this. Later on, Ms. Halpin would remarry. She died at about 66 years old. What about the baby boy? Well, he grew up, changed his name to James Knight, became a doctor, and died around 1940, in the 1940s at least. Remember how Oscar Folsom had a baby girl named Frances, and how Grover Cleveland gave a baby carriage to her? Well, when Oscar Folsom died, Frances Folsom was about 10 years old, and Grover Cleveland became her guardian. When Cleveland became president, she was in college, and Cleveland began courting her. Everyone thought he was courting her mother, until Cleveland married her in the White House. He was 49 years old, and she was 21, the only president to get married in the White House. Now, President Cleveland, the previous veto mayor and veto governor, became the veto president. He vetoed more acts and proposals than all 21 presidents before him combined. He hated waste. when a Disability Act was put forth to help Civil War veterans who are now getting older, he vetoed it. He said many of those disabilities came from after the war, from accidents. This was true, but the veterans who did legitimately get disabled during the war paid the price, and they were angry, especially since Grover Cleveland never fought in the Civil War. When there was a drought in Texas, and Congress proposed buying $10,000 of grain to give to the farmers, Grover Cleveland vetoed this too, saying it was not the government's duty to protect the people, that it would lead to victim mentality. He said that while the people had to be there for the government did not have to be there for the people. He was the first Democrat president in a long time, but he refused to fire the Republican federal employees from Chester Arthur's administration. He said if they were doing a good job, let them continue doing so. Democrats were angry since they expected him to clean house and hire them. To appease them, he did hire a few. He said he felt bad over the mistreatment of the Chinese during Chester Arthur's day, but that the Chinese had refused to assimilate. So, laws were enforced keeping any Chinese who had left the United States to not return. He did not send any officers to the South to assist blacks in upholding their civil rights. Neither did he hire any blacks for any federal jobs, even though he did keep Representative Frederick Douglass in his position as Recorder of Deeds. He wanted to assimilate Native Americans into white society and out of tribal government. When whites were encroaching on the land, 4 million acres belonging to the Crow Creek Indians, he sent troops to enforce the treaties, investigate, and protect the Indians. Many people believed in using silver as currency because silver costs less. Cleveland believed in upholding the gold standard. He also believed in lowering tariffs, just as Chester Arthur did, but he wanted to lower them even lower, from 47% to 40%. He pushed the bill through the House of Representatives, but the Republican Senate did not agree and the bill died. Grover Cleveland did not believe that the United States should get into any foreign affairs, but he did strengthen the Navy. Now, Frances Folsom, though only 21 years old when she married Grover Cleveland, was very popular as First Lady. She held many receptions, conducted herself with much charm. After the first term ended and Grover Cleveland lost his re-election, Frances told the servants as she left the White House, "Take good care of the furniture. I want it just as it is when we come back." And they did come back, but that's in an upcoming video. For now, comment below, or better yet, subscribe. This is Cool Talk.